every man must leave the garden, every woman must leave, and every man will be forsaken, and every woman must bleed. But everything will be forgiven when you get back home. Everything that once was broken is now completely whole, completely whole, completely whole, completely whole, completely whole, yeah, completely whole, completely whole. So come back home. So come back home. So come back home. Come back home. Now that I learned the lesson, I cultivate the message, capturing the essence of the present moment in perfection. Will I be so alive? Jah got my every stride, living in the garden with the children of the Most High. I will climb the mountain and I will sing the song. I will find the silence and I will sing along. But love will always guide us right back to where we are. We were never God.
Recording in progress.
Okay, it's more than that.
We don't even need. I'm going to edit this too, so don't worry. But this is a good way to start it. Is expecting love versus giving love, and wanting love in order to love, right? So a lot of these topics that we're going to talk about today are expecting love to come to you in order to love others. You know, I hate my life, and if I could only get love, if a man could love me here or this woman could love me here, I would love that, and then I'll love, and then our love never shows up, right?
Or then I can really truly love, and I can truly be happy, because other people are giving me what I want, because I need to get my needs met before I can take care of others. It's like it's a conditional kind of love that you're having then with God. Even you're saying, I'll do this if you give me this, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. It's like you're setting forth something and you're setting standards. If you do this for me, God, I'll do this. Or if I get this, then I'll be. And not even God, universe, life. It's like, I wish I could get this. I wish I could graduate college and then I'll be happy. And then I wish I can get married, happy. And then homes. And then it keeps going on and we're never happy, right?
Oh, yeah. You're never happy. I mean, because it goes on and on and on. And then it never really gets it. You'll never happy. I mean, there's always something. Oh, if I just can buy this house, or if I can just, if I can do this work, but I want to be able to travel the world while I'm doing it. There's all these kind of like this fantasy that we create around what we feel would make us happy, but that's not real. So it's just,
I've said obstacles in the mirror are farther away than they appear. Like when we look at our driver's side door, a window, the mirror.
Yeah.
But actually, it's spiritually obstacles in the mirror. Like we're always looking back on things or something that might come. They hold us back. But in getting started, Jenna, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone here? What's your name and what do you do? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
For everyone here, everyone that's watching right now.
Everyone that's going to be, we're recording right now. I'm out here in Reno, and tell us a little bit about you, where you're at, what's going on.
I didn't realize that you were recording me, but that's fine.
This recording is in progress.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my name is Jenna Bambe. I'm an registered nurse, and I work with patients with hospice. And I also, which is also a surprise kind of job that I've been starting the last 3 years that I didn't expect to do, but I enjoy very much because I really feel like it's part of what I'm doing with my spiritual practice as well, which is I work as feeling like I'm just as an intuitive guide and energy worker and helping people to know how to be able to find their inner calm on their own. I mean, I can help to kind of instigate it and show you how to receive energy. I can give you energy, but the goal is that people can learn how to do this for themselves, so that everyone can have the inner peace and the inner calm and the still mind that they need in order to, say that their life is the best it can be.
Right. And there's a mix too. I like where your path, we were talking a little bit before the recording about your path in life and what you've come into a calling of, say, nursing and working in the medical field, but also spiritually. Those two usually aren't intertwined, but they are in your case of, helping others who open up, like we connected in the same field. And you're like, well, the spiritual part, the talking about our books and our, coaching, helping, we all have this in common. So to everyone out there, my name is Coach Stefan Rudolph. I know you're either subscribed, like, and shared on here for the YouTube channel. And I have wonderful guests here like Jenna throughout the week, every week now. And Jenna's come to me. We kind of came in each other's lives through the medical field of assisted living in San Diego and helping others with Alzheimer's and dementia. And going back to what I'm saying is your passion, your spiritual passion, is kind of intertwined with what you do, right? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the connectivity.
It is. I mean, I work with a team and I really do. I stay in my lane as a nurse, just, helping people to stay comfortable and do symptom management. I allow the spiritual counselor and the medical social worker to kind of lead with the emotional and spiritual support. And I'm just there to just give anything extra that they need, like I don't take charge with that, because that's not my role as a nurse in that realm, of what I'm doing with people, because I'm just more looking at, keeping them people comfortable physically and, and I also talk a little bit spiritual if they want to, go there, like, as far as my book and what my book is about, that's a little more kind of, it's a little mental, emotional, and a little spiritual too. So connect with your inner calm is about like connecting with your own inner higher self, and knowing how to be able to delete any negative that takes over, that rate is kind of like how you would connect to that negative cycle that usually we have in our mind anyways, that the negative bypass that we tend to all just sort of fall into, like thoughts that take over that are not, they're just repetitive thoughts that keep us in a funk or a lower vibration. I just teach how to be able to release that with tools and everyday practical tools. And then I teach how to receive energy. So how to tune in to divine energy with meditation. And it's like a form of prayer where you're actually receiving rather than, talking. You're actually listening, and you're focusing on listening, and you're focusing on receiving energy to heal you. So it's a healing practice.
Yeah,
So
I love that. And that's like the healing through feeling. In order to heal, you must first feel. You open up those areas, and you've even done some work with me over the phone and just kind of some energy work. And people wouldn't know this. And I like what you said earlier. When we meet people in our profession or any profession, you're out in the workforce, you're out in everyday life, and somebody says a couple key words. And those key words, like in for Alcoholics Anonymous, might be, sobriety or something that, oh, have you been sober? And then we'll talk about that. But in our spirituality, you might say something as far as that word spiritual or the energy. That's always a key word. You said, my energy's a little low today or something. I go, oh, really? And then all of a sudden we start connecting with inner calm, and you're telling me about your book. And all of a sudden, within a couple of weeks, we had all this collaboration going on. And, but the inner calm part of your book too, it helps people reconnect with who they really should be versus what society, I feel, has done to us. Is that about right? Because what we want out here isn't always what's in here. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, we're all born with our ego, which is what we have as a human, and when our soul leaves our body and we pass and we go back to heaven, then we are separated from our ego. So that's why, we're able to have such, so much, you're able to see things so much more clearly and have more clarity, be able to see, who you really are, in your divine self and your soul self. And you're not like hooked into this ego part of you that is this package that we all have that comes with us when we're born. That it's kind of like what it's our mindset that we have to overcome, the negative part of our mindset, that's telling us how to be and how to act and how to think and how to feel and how to respond and react to every little thing that comes our way. And knowing how to separate yourself from that and have clarity and be able to see how that is not really who you really are. That's just it's just a part of your mind that's dictating to you how it wants you to be, so that it can keep you in this lower vibration, so that you don't have you feel like you don't have choices, so you feel like I really am trapped in this situation. I really am stuck here. Everything was getting good and now look what happened. And and then the ego gets in there and gives us all these rationalizations of why we have to be thinking this negative way. So it's just knowing how to be aware of that, and how it's just realizing it's part of our mind. That's not who we really are at our soul self, and knowing how to be able to address it and confront it and release it, and it takes like 30 seconds. And it's, my belief is that it's, if you're done with intention, with you get the help from your divine, from your spiritual guide, who will help it gives you an extra power that you never even know you had, to be able to really be above that, and to be, it's part of it, just to be a part of it. I mean, one tool is like, you could just, every time, let's say you have a thought that keeps you down, it could be a repetitive thinking. I'm not good at this, or, so-and-so said this, so maybe they're right, or something like that. You put that in a bubble, you put that person who you think you are in that way in a bubble, and you kind of watch it drift away. And you see that's not me. That's just the thinking that I have, that I think is me. I can do whatever I want. I can be whoever I want. I can create whatever I want in order to be, and everything that I envy in other people that I would like to be, So use your imagination.
Your
imagination.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, your imagination is God. That's how I see it. That's what Neville Goddard said.
Giving us dreams, giving us ideas, giving us thoughts, but we take action. And a lot of people, I almost have a pet peeve that I'm working on when I hear "I'm sorry." And usually 90% of the time, it's like somebody bumps into you, or, one of the residents I work with, she's always like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, don't be sorry. I always tell her every day, don't be sorry. It was just a little mistake, or you dropped the food. And when you're sorry too much, you're you're hard on yourself, right? You're like, you're constantly feeling like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Well,
you're saying I'm doing something wrong. That's what you're saying. And then you're even talking yourself into thinking that, maybe I'm always doing something wrong. And if I apologize to other people, it'll help them to like me more, because maybe I'm not worthy. I mean, it's coming from that, maybe a little low self-esteem, or, and, the thing is what you say and how you are with people is how people will react and think. You have to teach people how to treat you. I mean, you have to believe in yourself and know that you're worthy, and that you're not doing anything wrong, because you're doing the best for yourself, in the best way you can. And so why would you tell other people that you think that you're doing wrong? If you don't think that you're doing wrong,
part of us keeps telling us we're wrong. That's the old self. And what you just mentioned, a couple good things. I call it, put the old self on the shelf, and not worry about it, and not be so sorry for yourself. Just say, I'm growing. I need this, say, so-called mistake, but it's not. It's a learning process. Don't be so hard.
I mean, it's like anytime you have a thought that makes you feel bad about yourself, like, I did this wrong, I didn't do this good enough, you say to yourself, you address your ego, and you say, ego, take the input that I'm doing that wrong, and the feelings that I'm not good enough, and that I should be able to do things better, and fuck off. You say that, you got to be strong in how you're thinking, and addressing it.
From the F yous to thank yous.
So Yeah. And then you have to wait for it to move away. You got to close your eyes and you got to watch it move away. And it could take sometimes up to 30 seconds. And if it doesn't go away, you do it again,
Well, if I
if it
can
comes
address, I
back to
like
you.
what you just said. I'm always getting a name for the video. I think addressing the ego might be a good calling here to call this video, because that's a huge part. And it took me 32 years to wake up. And I think when you have a good point, 30 seconds, right now when you're spiritually awoke. But when I was 32 years into life and everything fell apart, I couldn't address it that fast. It almost took me like
Mhm.
32 months, like literally like a couple of years to finally get that seed growing, and then 32
Mhm.
weeks, and then 32 days, and then 32 minutes. And then it finally came down to real quick. But
Well, it's like
now,
baby steps, though. It's
yeah,
like especially when you first start, it's always little baby steps, and you feel like, you know, you always feel like, oh, I could be doing more, I could be doing more, but that's your ego telling you that too. Just every little baby step is a mountain, really. So, and even if it seems like, you would like to be further along, you have to start somewhere, and now is all that matters. And if you can have some peace now, even if it's not the monumental piece that you're looking for that you could have in a year or 6 months, that's good. That's darn good. So
and
whatever
is
you
this
can
what
get
your,
now.
your book does? Your book addresses this, right? Tell us a little bit about how it helps people in this area with the ego.
Um, well, I just explain basically how the ego works. Ego is edging God out. E for
Yeah.
edging, G, God out. Part of your mind that comes with you when you're born. It's part of your mind that you basically have to learn to control. It's called doing the work for your own bliss. It's not going to be something that, oh, I'm aware of it, so therefore it's not really there now because I'm aware of it. I mean, which I think a lot of people say that, I've read that a lot. No, it's more than that. I mean, you got to take it a huge step further from just awareness. It's like, now let's address it and confront it, and tell it where to go and watch it move away, and then go another step further and really feel the peace that you feel when you're connecting with this divine, this inner divine that is who you are without that, and feeling the peace and feeling the, no, you don't need to go on a trip to the Bahamas. Some people obsess, oh, if I could just go on a trip to the Bahamas, like I'll feel so much better, and I could get a margarita and I could sit by the ocean and I can snorkel and, float in the seawater with all the iodine,
If I
and
can
all
just
my
get
worries will
there,
go
I'll
away.
be happy. I'll be happy. And it's always there. You're never there though, right?
But you don't, well, but you got your mind, that follows you everywhere you go. So no matter what you have, no matter what possessions you have, no matter what most serene trip you're on, if you don't have your mind, the mind has to be at peace first so that you can truly enjoy things.
Hmm.
So it's just about addressing your mind and knowing that you're doing the work for your own bliss, and you're doing it by being aware of the ego, confronting and addressing the ego, and then being focusing on where you are after you confront, released it, and you've watched it move away, and then going back to your inner peace. And knowing that when you first start this, you may have to do this, numerous times throughout the day. And then over time, you're going to find that you only have to do it once every 2 weeks, because you'll find that, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I feel so peaceful. It's like a surprise. You'll suddenly just wake up one day and feel like, I just feel totally different. Like I feel like I really like myself. I don't have that same ick feeling I used to have. I don't, I can actually be aware of my ego and address it and release it when I need to. And I don't even feel like I need to right now. And you get there. You do get there. But it's doing the work.
Yeah, one day at a time, one feeling at a time, and a lot of acknowledging. Because a lot of the viewers might be, say, spiritually awoke, or to a point where their life has changed, and maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's change, it's a move, it's something, and they just feel like there's a calling out there, something different in life. And that's like the awakening. And we have that, and everybody goes through it. And for them to listen here and to understand it, like you said, once a week, once every 2 weeks or so, but sometimes it's every day. It's being when I sometimes get frustrated, everybody, like anxiety or just kind of, I'm frustrated at work, by acknowledging it, it goes away for me. So when people out there work on it, and I know that's in your book too, it's like helping people to work together, piece of peace, I call it, the spiritual part and the ego versus the ego, and just helping others that way. That's what you do,
I
right?
think so too. I think, it starts with yourself for sure. And then because you feel like if you can trust yourself and you can really work on yourself and you feel better, it's almost like you're getting proof that, what I'm doing is working. And then when you work with others, then you feel like I have something to offer, because I felt like I've been doing this for 30 years and I honestly wanted to make sure I raised my children, and I've gone through some trials that, and I'm able to get through those trials and come to the other side and feel even stronger and feel like I have even more to give. Before I tried to give when I wasn't ready, so that was really important to me. So it's like, and it's so that, and when you're giving, then you're kind of trusting like people around you, and you're developing more trust with people. So instead of like having fear, like, oh, I'm not sure if I trust that person, I don't want to like give too much because they might not give back, those maybe feelings that you've had in the past, you don't, you're kind of, your mind is more of what do I have to give? But it doesn't mean that you give, without, you give with people who that you're working with that are, where it's positive, where it's working back.
Acknowledging those thoughts. I love that topic you brought up, because the thoughts go on and on in our head when it comes to anxiety and stress, and like, what if this happens? What if that? I can't believe this person said that. And then we blow it out of proportion. And all of a sudden we're pissed off at them and we don't even know what they did. Sometimes they haven't even done anything.
Yeah, that is like, that happens all the time. That's always going to happen. That's
Yes.
something that you can never get rid of. That's something that, because your ego is always looking for an opportunity. So it'll find your weakness. And so like, if your weakness is that, maybe there's just maybe you just react kind of quickly and not, and you don't listen very well. And you kind of maybe overanalyze things too. Like your ego will try to get in there and tell you things that aren't true. So like, you just have to like take a step back, when you feel that anger or that frustration or that fear with someone, and you just say, wait a minute, like, and this comes with counseling and stuff, which I haven't really done counseling, but it's like, you can always paraphrase it back to them and say, is this what you meant by this?
Yeah.
Did you, and that's the worst thing you want to do, because you think, well, of course they meant that, but no, maybe they didn't, so it's always good to ask. And it's always good to give someone else the credit, the benefit of the doubt. And then, from there.
I can, the example that everybody can understand out there is a text message. Okay. We all deal with text messaging. And when you send somebody a message and they don't reply back, and after 5 minutes, okay, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and you're thinking, what is going on? Do they not like me? Or is this person busy? Are they okay? And then we start going over and analyzing. And then the person calls back, sorry, I was busy, or, they lost their phone. But all this stuff goes on in our head a day later, 2 days later.
Text messaging is big, and that you can completely horrible. It's like, sometimes I think I just don't even want to text message anymore. Like that, especially if you have a really bad experience where you really have become really angry over nothing, and then you realize how stupid the whole thing was, and how
when you finally
it ruined your whole day for about 4 hours, and then you realize it was you, it wasn't anyone else, it was because of the way you were interpreting things. So
that's why they call it text messaging, because it's a mess. That's why I call it.
Yeah,
it can become a mess.
I know, and there's too much of it. That's what we're all doing. We all rely on that, and it's all this, when we're doing all this social media and everything, it's making everyone so impersonal with each other, and less looking at each other in the eye and trusting each other and trying to have a relationship based on even with people we don't know. Like, look at each other in the eye and smile, and trust someone else, that they would want to look at you in the eye and smile back at you, like we don't all have to be like looking at our phones all the time.
Yeah. And part of the
Mhm.
work that you do, maybe you can talk a little bit about this. You were explaining to me the online meetings that you had, the video meetings. You had the social media going on for a while. Are you going to get back into that, or how can people say follow you, or get your book online? Tell us a little bit about the work you do and
Well,
how to
thank you
get
for
a hold of you.
asking that because I haven't done it for 3 years. It's been that long. I can't believe the time has flown by.
Yeah.
But I started hospice, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to do this part-time and then do my I had like a personal group page on Facebook, and I'll do
Hmm.
it, there too. I'll just, because I just talk about, it's called Connect with Your Inner Calm. It's the same title as my book. I had a different name before. It was called Abundant Intuitives, because I also teach people how to like try to connect with their higher intuition. So and then be able to tune in and even talk to their spiritual guide if they need to, or just if they don't want to do that, they can just at least connect with their highest intuition. So they just kind of know things. It's where you become sort of a seer, and you can kind of it really gives you strength if you're going through difficult times. So that's why I called it Abundant Intuitives. But anyways, now it's called Connect with Your Inner Calm, and it's just about, I'm going to just promote my book now, and I'm going to start it tonight. Mainly because I had a patient. I don't usually advertise my book to my patients' families, but sometimes I just mention, especially if we get on the topic and they're asking me questions, then I will tell them I'm writing a book. I've written a book and I published it, and then they ask me if they can work with me and so forth. So then I'll say, well, you can find me on Facebook. So this has happened a couple times this past week. So that's why I told them I'm going to start on Facebook again, on my personal page. And then you can find me there. You can find me under Jenna Bambe in my regular personal page, or you can find me in my private Facebook group, which is Connect with Your Inner Calm. So I just got to get that link set so I can set that out to send that out to people,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not really very super techie. So it's just about like, I'm trying to figure out how to put the link on my personal page so people can join from there. But even if you go on my personal page and just say, can I join your group? I'll send you the link. And
Okay. They
even if
can
you
follow
want to,
you.
if you don't want to, even if you don't want to go on my group, if you just want to go on my personal page and ask me, oh, can you talk about this? I'll put it on my personal page too.
Yeah, and this is about quantity, not quality versus quantity, because a lot of the video places on YouTube, I follow a lot of spiritual growth and different things, and sometimes there'll be millions of views on these places. Other times there's thousands of views,
Mhm.
but you grab such a great part of education and spiritual growth and self-development, and that's what I see that you provide for people. Even with my shirt here, Control Alt Delete, reset your mind, reset your life. That's kind of like somebody comes to you at a point in their life, whether they're farther along in years, younger, it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
but you can help them kind of reset and be able to look at life a little bit differently. And I like the part you said, you don't have to vacation. You don't have to go
Mhm.
somewhere out there. It's
Mhm.
basically somewhere in
It's a
here,
lot of times it's just changing a perspective, and realizing maybe my perspective can be a little tweaked a little bit. You can do that just with a tool. But I usually, there's 3 different tools. One is like to release, and this is what's in the book, how to release from the subconscious. So that takes a little bit more time. It's a little bit more of a kind of a regimented way of doing things for a few weeks, where you just are releasing the negative thoughts and feelings and behaviors that you've had since you were little, but where you've reacted to people who have unknowingly, given you some sort of trauma with fear, mostly, or guilt, maybe some resentment, anger. And, it's tuning in on and releasing at that level. And then after you release from the unconscious level, then you just release on a daily basis, just the little things, that come along that are similar to that. So, yeah, so that's what I talk about in my book. And then that's what I'm going to pick a different topic. And then just like once a week or twice a week, and then just say, I'm going to talk about this topic, and it's going to be like, how to use a tool, or how to tune in and receive energy, how to connect with your inner divine, how to reach out to your spiritual guide and communicate with your spiritual guide, things like that. So, and it's just, I'm going to just see what most people are interested in. And then, I'll ask, I'll put a question like, what would you like me to talk about this next week? And I'll put like 3 different things, and people can choose and tell me.
I like that. It gives them the option. And then also it connects with other people in different areas. And what we all went through and grew through the lockdown, I call it, a lot of people experienced so many changes in lockdown. So a lot of it can be related, whether it's depression, anxiety, change, divorce, whatever, you're helping different areas of life with transitions in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're helping. I just kind of take it person by person, and I just go with whatever comes through me, with what, I feel is helpful for that person. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying until I'm talking. That's how it usually is. It's like I'm almost channeling a little bit, like, because I never really premeditate what I'm going to say. I
couldn't do
I'm
that.
always, and a lot of times I'm very surprised at what I'm saying. So,
you look back on it, like, was that me?
I know, exactly. But, the thing is if I help the person, that gives me so much feeling of like, I feel so blessed. I never knew what true joy was until I started doing this, and not knowing what I was doing, just thinking, oh, I think I'm going to write a book, and I think I'm going to start a group and talk about what I'm going to write in my book. And then I had people coming to me and asking me deeper questions that I ever even imagined. And then I was working with them one-on-one, because they were giving me testimonials if I worked with them. And then I was like, wow, I can't believe how, like, I would almost break down and cry with joy when I could help, when I realized some people, I felt like I was helping them, like, to the extent that I helped them. Like, I can feel, the transformation that was happening just from being able to maybe see a different perspective that they were able to get, with more clarity. And you get a different perspective because you get more clarity. You get more clarity because you're receiving energy that helps you get there. So,
Yeah, I like that. And you can connect with other people that, and I've had that too, the experience when you're helping people and you find your calling, when you're crying for a good reason, and a happiness, it's like the tears start coming out and you found your calling. And for others to be aware of that, the listeners out there today, and just working with you, Jenna, and people in general, when they find their calling, they know it, they feel it. They're like, this is what I'm here for. Not the degree, not this, not what I was told to do, but what I have a passion to do.
Well, it's more like just feeling pure joy at knowing that you can feel how good the other person feels. That's what gives me joy. Like, because I can kind of feel the emotion, like, afterwards when they're telling me, oh, thank you, and I can feel how, I've given them a tool to help themselves, that, I know that when I'm not working with them, they can help themselves, and they know what to do in order to be able to stay detached from their ego, and to be aware of how their ego works, and be able to know how to tune in and receive energy, and to know how to keep themselves at that high level that they want to be so much. Everyone wants to be, I think, feel good, right?
Yeah, the feeling, the passion. And then when you have a book out like you do, and I've written my book, and then people read it and they get back to you and they say, this part was amazing, this, and this. And you're like, you probably feel too, you're like, did I write that? Or you kind of forgot about what part you put in there, but a certain part connects with people that you've been helping. And then they are able to transition both in the inner world, in the inner sizing, as John Assaraf calls it, and then outer world in the performance, and turning it into reality. Because again, I connect with your 3 years of being out of it for a while. We've both been working really hard and work starts taking over more and more. I used to meditate. So I used to meditate every day on the bed before, and then it went to, 3 times a week and 2 times. And then it was like months. And I'm kind of like, I got to get back into it.
I know. And then the thing is even if you're not meditating, you can stay open. So a lot of times I don't have time to meditate. I do in the morning. I always tune in the morning for at least 10 minutes because that's what gives me my clarity and my energy for the day. But like, I really know I need to meditate at night and help to cleanse and unblock the chakras, but I don't always, and then I can drag for a couple of days. And then I realize, I need to tune in and then up to unblock, and to cleanse, to get the whole spiritual, constitution kind of cleansed and revitalized. And I can feel my ears buzzing. I can feel all the energy going through me when that happens. But even if I don't do that, if I'm just feeling a little bit, tired or even if I feel like disconnected, I just, like you're disconnected from your inner calm, you know what I mean? Because you get so caught up with all your daily tasks. So you think, and then you think, oh, wait, I have my inner calm. So I just always try to stay open, if you know what I mean? Like stay open to, I've got this within me. I'm coming back. Just knowing that. And then take it one step further, if you're a little bit overwhelmed with what you're doing and it's just a bad day or something, you can do a visualization that takes 10 seconds. Put yourself in a place that's just a really serene, beautiful place, a place that makes you happy. See the sounds of it, feel how you feel when you're there, and say that's where, I can be, always.
I found myself just recently, as an example, hanging up one time last week on a call that was really bad, a lot of negative energy, just, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I hang up and I had to close my eyes. And like you said, I kind of just point them in the third, I guess it's called the third chakra. I'm not too familiar, but just had to meditate and look up and be thankful for this experience. I'm thankful for what happened. I'm thankful for them saying this. I'm thankful that I did not blow up, and thankful. Thank you. Right. And then get over about 30 seconds of breathing and then look at it again, look at the call or look at the issue, the relationship, whatever you're going through. I feel that really helps me. And it sounds like your book and those areas can kind of do the same, right? Is that related?
No, I think it's really, really, really simple. So it's just, if you read it, and then when I wrote it, I have never written a book before. And when I wrote it, looked like a first grader had written it in the first draft. And then I just keep rewriting and I didn't know what I was writing, but and then I really explain everything in detail, because I would just stay open while I was writing, because I'm thinking, how can I help other people? I want this book to be like a self-help guide. I don't want to write a book, just waste my time writing a book just to sell it and not have it help anyone. So I really worked on that. So when you read it, it's like a step-by-step guide. It's also an explanation of what the ego is, what the illusion of self is. The illusion of self is who we are when we're more attached to our ego. We don't even realize we have an ego, and we're just reacting to our ego every day, and we think it's who we are. And then we end up not liking ourselves. And then we can project that on others and say that we don't like others, but really it's just ourselves that we don't like, because we don't know how to stay detached from our own ego, or even be aware that we're living in an illusion of self that we don't need to be doing. So I explain that in the book. I explain things like that. So I just kind of really get into detail about stuff like that. But so I don't know where
we're connected wonderfully. So how can people get a hold of you too? What you said on your website, or it's under Jenna Bambe, right? And spell that just to make sure.
It's JennaBambe.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could just go and type Jenna Bambe. You could type Jenna Bambe in Amazon.com and you can find my book, Connect with Your
and I'll have the links on here too. This is on the YouTube page, and I'll have the links down below so they can get a hold of you and just check out your book too.
Yeah, I'm not really on YouTube yet or Spotify, but I plan on doing podcasts.
You'll be on my YouTube. So
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
Great.
this
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 is
will be on
new.
the YouTube. So the description below will have her links right here and their information. So you can just at least go to the website and Facebook and, hit her up there. Any questions? So in closing, do you have any, final thoughts, feelings, or closing areas you want to
Oh,
cover?
what I was saying is it's simple. Okay, it's simple. Even though I write like, I don't know, 38,000 words, it's not that complicated. It's really simple. All it comes down to is being aware, using a tool to release something in 20 seconds, watching it release, reconnecting with your inner divine, your soul self, your inner calm and your inner divine and your inner still mind, staying with that mind and becoming that. It's who you, and you become that person over time, the more you do the work for your own bliss. So it's simple. God is love. God is simple in that way.
Yeah, don't blow it out of proportion. The ego says, what about this? What about that? What if this
Yes.
happens? What if that happens? We work with someone
Yes.
in our group,
Yes.
and
And
she's
then when,
constantly saying that, like, well, what if I'm at work and this happens? And right away, I started stopping the what ifs. And I said, let's talk about something beside in anything to start with except what if. And she had to think because everything in her mind was what if. And what
yeah,
is what if do? That's
that's
an
so
anxiety.
ego. That's ego just tricking you, tricking
Yeah.
you constantly, like never letting you have peace, you know? You don't have to feel that, you don't have to be that way. It's a choice. Do you want to be aligned with ego? Do you want to be aligned with your higher abundant being that is your true self, that is who you are without ego and just knowing who you are at your soul level that is abundant because you create more. It's like anytime you're in that more abundant mindset without ego, you're constantly creating more for yourself in every
There's
single
no
way,
turning
every aspect
around.
of your life.
Yeah. And there's no turning around. Once that spiritual awakening has happened, I've heard many authors and speakers talk about this. You can't just shut it off. And there's no more. Like I look back on who I was before without being woken in spiritual context. I'm like, there's a completely different person now. And then these little ideas and thoughts come together every day to create. It's a never ending process, put it that way,
It is
right?
a never ending process. You don't just get there. It's not like you just, oh, if I get this, it's going to make me happy. If I buy this and I have this, it's going to make me happy. If I just do this and become this, I'm going to be happy. No, it's constant growth. And it's constant learning more, the deeper aspect of joy. Like even if you hit that joy and oh, this is what joy is, then the more you work at it, then the deeper that joy becomes and what you're able to feel. It always comes very randomly, though. It's never when you are looking for it.
You could be working one day and then you put your glasses on and all of a sudden the sun just shines like this, and there it is, right?
Yeah, I'll take my glasses off. So put my glasses on because I'm outside. And I've been waiting to sit outside in the sun all day. I've been looking forward to it. So it looks so pretty there where you are.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then be able to, just say, this is what I'm thankful for, whether it's snow. Last time I was here visiting my parents up in Reno, this was all full of snow. Or whether it's hot out, whether it's sticky, it's muggy, but be able to say thank you and have an attitude of gratitude, right?
Absolutely. Always think about what you're grateful for, right? So you want to focus on what you have and not what you don't have. And then create.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Jenna, again for helping others out there. And anybody who has a question, just go down here and look at the link and the information below my YouTube channel here in the description of this video, and get a hold of Jenna and be able to Control Alt Delete, reset your mind, reset your life, and take it to the next level.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. It's a joy talking to you. All right. Bye-bye.